Hey friends, welcome back to the garage. Jim here with Philly Fixed. I've got the DeWalt DXAEPS14 power station. Now this is the type of thing you want to have in your vehicle in case of emergency. It's got a 120 PSI inflator, a 750 amp peak jump starter, a 500 watt, 120 volt inverter, and it's got USB charging on it. So it's an all-in-one type device that can really come in handy if you're in trouble on the roadside. So we're going to take a look at all the features, see how it performs, see if it's something that belongs in your toolbox or trunk. I just want to tell you that this is made by a company called Backus Global for DeWalt. It's not made by Stanley Black & Decker. And that company did send this to me to review. I always want to let you know when I'm reviewing a tool that I didn't pay for. But of course my opinions are my own, and we're going to see how it works and you can decide. So let's get to it. So let's take a look at some of the basic stuff. You've got your two 120 volt ports here with a slide protector to keep them dry. You've got 4 USB-A ports. You've got your air inflator. You hit air. You can set that. We'll try that out in the driveway in a little bit. You've got your light, which if you flip it around, you've got 2 LED bulbs here that, give you a decent amount of light. There you go. You've also got your charging port here, and you just use a standard barrel connector wall charger that it comes with to charge it up. It does take quite a bit of time to charge. It can take a little over a day and a half to charge it, so just something to keep in mind if you're going to use this thing. You've got USB power on and off. We're going to try that in a second. You've got AC power on and off, and you probably can't hear it, but a little cooling fan kicks on when you turn the power inverter on. You've got an alternator check feature that we're going to try in a minute. So why don't we start with the AC power feature. Okay, so I've got a watt meter plugged in here. The AC power feature is on. Turn the USB off. I'm going to plug in my heat gun. This is rated for 1500 watts. This is only rated for 500, but it does have a 0 through 5 adjustment dial on it, and we'll be able to check and see what the wattage is. So let's start out here. Okay, we'll just turn it up just a little bit. Okay, we're at like 160 watts. $187, 88. $214. $305, $306, $307. Okay, so I must have cranked it up just a little too fast. We'll turn this back off. Turn it back on. We're going to start just a little bit lower than where we were. Okay, so it seems like we're cutting off around 400, but I might just be cranking the knob just a little too fast. Let's see where we end up here. 338. All right, I'm just barely going to move it. All right, so I'm going to say we're not going to get more than about 375 watts out of it. It's rated for 500. A heat gun is a pretty linear load. It's pretty much purely resistive, so you're not getting a lot of surge or power factor there. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. But basically, it's a decent way to test this. So you're looking at about 375 watts. All right, let's try the USB function. I'll plug my cable in here. I've got my S21 Ultra from Samsung. So I'll put USB on. All right, so this just says charging. It's at 67%. It's giving me 52 minutes to full. So this phone will say either charging, fast charging, or super fast charging. And super fast charging, I believe, requires power delivery on the charger. Fast charging, I think it's Quick Charge 3.0. So this is actually just providing very baseline, basic USB charging. All right, so I've got a pretty old worn out car battery here. This will be a good test to see how the jump starter works because we have a battery that we know is on the edge of being dead. I'm gonna plug it in the trickle charger just to get a status on voltage. So it looks like we're getting 12.5, 12.6 volts. Usually like to see a car battery actually charged at something more like 14. So this is on the low side. We're gonna see if the car will start with it in, and I assume it won't, and then we'll try to jump it with this unit. All right, so just for good measure, I actually left the headlights on with the car off just to make sure the battery voltage was nice and low. So we're giving this unit a good test. I don't know if you can see it, I'm getting 11.2 volts, and I'm getting a diagnostic trouble code from the GEM that the battery voltage is too low. So this should not start. Let's give it a try. Definitely does not want to start. So let's get the unit hooked up. So these look to be aluminum stranded conductors. So, you know, a little bit of cost savings there. All right, so I've got the unit hooked up. When I hooked it up, I didn't touch any of the buttons. Automatically comes up with the engine start icon blinking here and the two icons that show that the clamps are on the battery. So that's kind of cool. It looks like it's ready to go. I'm just gonna leave it right there and I'm gonna go try to start. And it started up the truck, no problem. So Ford Ranger 2002 4.0 liter engine. This can handle it. I don't have a bigger vehicle to test it on, but this works for me. All right, so I basically completely let all the air out of this tire on my Project Ranger. So let's get the air hose set up. Now, it does say on the little warning label here that to prevent overheating, the compressor will automatically shut off after 10 minutes. So hopefully it can fill this tire to 30 PSI, which is what the door tag says, in under 10 minutes. Now, it didn't come with this, but I highly recommend one of these quick chucks. You can get a 2-pack on Amazon for like, I don't know, $8. And it just makes it so much easier. You just screw it on to the end of your inflator. I really like it, so it makes it easy to just pop it on there. Now that seems like it's leaking. There we go. All right. Now let's get air. Now this is at 50 PSI. We only really want it at 30. Okay. So while this is filling up, one thing I'll say is it's really not that loud. I think my little Ryobi 18-volt one is louder than this, so that's nice. It's not a loud compressor. Come up on 30. Now the trick is it going to fill past 30 and then let off and see if the ambient pressure is actually 30, or is it going to stop at 30 and then drop a couple tenths of a pound below? All right, so it stopped right at 30. Let's pop this off. This is a little warm, but it's really not bad. Now let's pop this back on and see what this measures. See, it's actually giving me 31. I know that, like, for example, there's other inflators that inflate just past and then let off to see where it's at, but this did a pretty good job. So you'll see on the video how long that took. I think it was probably about 7-8 minutes, but definitely nice. Now your battery, we've got 3 bars left after inflating the truck tire, so it didn't completely kill the battery. All right, guys, that's the DeWalt DXAEPS14. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. It successfully jump-started my truck with a dead battery. It filled up the tire in a reasonable amount of time without completely draining the battery. It can give you about 375 watts of AC 120 volt power, and it'll charge up a USB device, although not super quickly. It'll get the job done. So what are my nitpicks? Well, it's rated for 500 watts for the power inverter. I wasn't quite able to get that out of it. And, you know, it doesn't provide that fast USB charging, but I don't really think those are deal breakers. I would still pick this unit up if you're looking for something with all those features that you can keep in your trunk, get you out of a pinch in an emergency. Anyway, I appreciate you guys being here. My name is Jim with Philly Fixed. God bless you guys. See you on the next video.
Hello, I'm Jim Davis.